Hi, my students in grade 5, in the fifth part or item in the exam for advanced level family and friends, which is the story. So, in the story, you have how many questions? You have only two WH questions and two choice only. So you have 4 questions. But here I will give you a summary or overview of chapter 1 and chapter 2 and 3. Okay, let's take some questions here. Our story is called Around the World in 80 Days. Here, Mr. Fogg, here, the passport is his servant. Okay. So, who was Mr. Phileas Fogg? Mr. Phileas Fogg is a gentleman, handsome English gentleman. He lived in London in a comfortable house in Burlington Gardens. He didn't work. He had lots of money. He wasn't married. He had a servant who did the housework for him. And this is Mr. Phileas Fogg. What did Mr. Fogg do every day? This question is very important. Look here, he is entered a club. So what did he do every day? At 12 o'clock, he ate lunch and read the newspaper. Okay. In the evening, he had dinner and talked with his friends at the club. At midnight, he came home and went straight to bed. Okay. Here, describe Fogg's first servant. His name is James Foster, and he didn't have much to do because Mr. Fogg spent most of all his time at the club. Suddenly, Mr. Foster lost his job with Mr. Fogg. Why and when? He lost his job on the 2nd of October, 1872. And he lost his job because he brought Mr. Fogg some water for his bath that wasn't hot enough. So Mr. Fogg lost his job. The second servant for Mr. Fogg was Jane Passepartout. Passepartout he is called Jane Passepartout. He was called that because he had worked in many exciting jobs in different places and he was looking for a quiet job. What did Passepartout do after Mr. Fogg left the house? He found a feather duster and started cleaning. What did Fogg read in Times newspaper? When Mr. Fogg was sitting with his friends in the club, he read in the newspaper that gentleman thief takes 50,000 pounds from the bank. They were stolen. Who are Mr. Fogg friends? This man is called Mr. Stuart, he was an engineer, and Mr. Ralph, he was a banker at the Bank of England. This is the newspaper, and this is Mr. Stuart. Mr. Stuart has a challenge with Mr. Fogg. How did Fogg challenge Stuart? He said that he could go around the world and be back in 80 days, and Stuart offered him 20,000 pounds. And if he couldn't do that, Stuart will take 20,000 from Mr. Fogg, and this was the challenge. So now Mr. Fogg went quickly to the house and asked Passepartout to prepare themselves because they are going to travel around the world in 80 days. Okay. Now complete the following sentences. Phileas Fogg was tall, handsome, Englishman, handsome. Okay. James Foster lost his job because he brought Fogg water for his bath that wasn't hot enough. Okay. Passepartout means to go everywhere. The article in the Times newspaper was about a gentleman who stole these pounds from the bank. Mr. Stewart was an engineer. Mr. Ralph was a banker. Very good. Now, where did the Mongolia travel after Suez? Down the Red Sea to Aden, and then across the Arabian Sea to Bombay. What did Fix ask Passepartout about Fogg? If he knew Fogg well, and where did they go, and if he had lots of money or not. So Mr. Fix here is a detective who wants to arrest Mr. Fogg, and he thinks that he is a thief who stole the money from the bank. Where did Fix take Passepartout to? He took him to a clothes shop to buy some new shirts and shoes for Mr. Fogg. What did Passepartout visit at Melbourne? He visited a temple. Look at that temple. Passepartout here. Visit this temple in Melbourne. But there is something bad that he does. What is this something? Why were the Indian priests angry? Look at this. These. So why were the Indian priests angry? The Indian priests angry because, look at this one. This one, which is visitors must take off their shoes before they enter the temple. This is a rule. But Passepartout entered the temple with his shoes, and now they took off his shoes and he ran away. Why did the train stop in Bay? Because the engineers were working on the railway and it wasn't finished, so there were 80 kilometers without a railway between Bay and Allahabad. What happened in India if the prince died? If the prince died, the princess, his wife, had to die with him in a big fire. Look at this picture. Yeah, this is the princess, and they will put her in the fire with her husband because he died. Okay, and look at this man. Who is he? He's not the real princess. He is Passepartout. He got dressed in a prince to save Mrs. Uda, the princess. Okay, complete. Fix went straight to the Swiss post office to send a telegram to Scotland Yard. Mr. Fogg paid to buy the elephant. Okay, how much is the elephant? 2,000 pounds. Visitors must always take off their shoes. The at Melbourne were very angry. The priests. Passepartout found the inn to take them to Allahabad and what? An elephant. So Mr. Fogg bought this elephant to take them to Allahabad because the railway station wasn't finished. Those days in India, if the princess died, the princess had to die with him in a big fire. Fogg looked carefully at the prince. It was in the prince's clothes. Who is he? It was Passepartout. Okay. Thank you.